Here we have our 2000 model Mercedes C280. Now I'm going to zoom up. We've got some bird crap here. We've got excessive layers of dirt. What has happened over the past month and a half is that it's been through 2 rainstorms, but the 3rd rainstorm, what it did is it literally just got the car wet enough to just make a big colossal mess. It was not enough rain to actually wash any of this dirt away. We've got water spotting. I mean, it is a disaster. Now, according to the manufacturer, which is Optimum, their no rinse wash and wax, is that you dilute this, add 1 ounce to 2 gallons of water. So I decided to see, could I literally wash a car with a half a gallon of water? But because that car is so dirty, I'm going to show you 2 examples that I would incorporate. I have my distilled water. Why am I using distilled water? Well, A, I'm using such a little amount of water, it's very cheap. And distilled water is the most pure water that you can get. I do not have to worry about it drying in the sun or spotting up or creating any permanent water spots. So I'm going to pour approximately half a gallon into this bucket. Now this says 1 ounce for every 2 gallons. Now I'm using 1/4 of what that directions is called for. So literally I would use 1/4 of an ounce. Now this is where the dilution ratios, it's not going to make or break your world. So I know that if this bottle, 8 ounces, so officially I would get 8 uses out of that. So if I divide this by 8, but I only need 1/4 of it, that's a pretty minimal amount. So right there is sufficient enough. I'm just going to mix it up. Now I'm going to take my chenille microfiber wash mitt. I'm going to take it in there. I also have my 16 by 12 inch heavy pile chinchilla microfiber. So this is an alternative to taking your car to the car wash, spending your time, spending your money. It's a way to get results that are better than the car wash at your house with minimal water, minimal work, and the added benefit is that you're going to get a little added wax applied to your car in the process of going about and using this product. I'm going to separate this hood in half. I'm going to demonstrate the single bucket method over here, which is the more simplistic way, and I'm going to demonstrate a 2 bucket method over here. And this is where you need to respond as a car owner or a detailer based on the situation. So I've got my bucket, my single bucket. It's got my solution in it with 1/2 gallon of distilled water with the Optimum no rinse, and I've got my drying towel, my drying cloth here. So what you do is you pick it up, you wring out the excess water, and then you simply begin to wipe. Yes, I accept that many of you are going to go in freak out mode right now. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy's a detailer. Think of the scratching and marring he's going to be doing on this paint. Well, then fine, don't use this method. But it is impressive. So this cloth is dry. When you fold it twice, you literally have 8 different squares that you can use to mop this up as you're working. So there we are. I have just washed this half of the hood, and it took me how long? You know, a couple seconds. I buff it to perfection. If I can produce better results than my local car wash, then that's the good thing. I can literally have this whole car washed in the time it would take just for me to drive my car to the car wash, never mind the time sitting there waiting for it to be done and the money I would pay them in order to wash it. And I can do it here at my house, get better results, and save time, money, and effort. So that's one way. Another alternative is what's called the 2 bucket wash method. I have my Optimum solution here. It still has only the original 1/2 gallon of water there, and I could wash this entire car with just a single 1/2 gallon of water. So this is what you do with the 2 bucket, is you wring this out as tight as you can, and you wipe it down, and you are removing the dirt here. That's when you take this wash mitt and you rinse it out here. Now I do have my grit guard in here, and you basically wring it out against the grit guard, and it will remove most of that dirt. And then you wring it out. Then you put it back in the wash, the Optimum no rinse bucket, and then you would just repeat your steps. Now, like I said, there's the rules and there's always the exceptions to the rule. So because the sun is not shining directly on the hood or out here, I can do a section like this, which is half the hood, in one go round. Now, if it was bright and sunny and this paint was like 160 degrees, I would have to break the sections down smaller and smaller. So I might do a section like this, mop it up, go to the next section, mop it up, the next section, mop it up, just like that. So this is where you just have to respond to what life is giving you. Once again, I'm merely responding to the fact of the age of this car. I know that when I'm done, there's still going to be scratches on the paint because there was plenty of scratches before. From normal viewing distances, it's a non-issue. This car is not garage kept, but I'm going to finish washing this car with just one bucket. Each time, I just wring it out a little bit. Just go down panel to panel. Follow with my chinchilla buffing cloth. Just keep moving forward. What's very cool is that I can literally finish the windows with it at the same time. I will not need to go back over it with a separate window cleaner. Now, as my cloth gets wetter and wetter, as I mop up the solution, that's where I fold it over and I pick a new side. Simple as that. Once again, you're responding to the information as you go, and this is where you just have to figure it out as to what's going to work in the moment. As a rule, I start from the top and I work my way down. Starting at the top, working down, this rub rail here, my cutoff point. So I will complete the entire car up to this point and above. Then I will save the dirtiest of the dirty work, which is the lower rocker panels and the wheels, for the very end. I think in under 7 minutes, 98% complete here. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to go around, I'm going to kind of detail the areas that I kind of glazed over, like underneath the door handles themselves. These areas, I can just take this like that, do a little this and that. Double check my detail work around the windows. If there's still some remaining bird poo or bee pollen, I can touch that up, which you would have to do anyways under a normal wash. Once I have the paint and the glass done, the next question becomes, okay, what do we do about the wheels and the tires? Well, that's where I'm going to grab a separate cloth, a cloth that I don't care as much about, and I'm going to do the same thing where I use my same solution, same cloth, I go around to the wheel and I clean the wheel. So right there is about 90% clean anyways. Now I'm going to take a different microfiber cloth, go through, wipe it dry, check the spots. Essentially, you get the big stuff and then you get the little stuff. So I'm going to detail it. I'm going to check for any residual areas. So there we have a clean wheel. Using the same Optimum rinseless wash and wax. Now, once again, I know many of you will be going into freak out mode. It's like, oh my gosh, imagine the damage that guy's doing to those wheels. Well, I could promise you, if you're here in person and this was your car and you know the cost and effort it requires you to take your car to the car wash and the poor results that typically they're going to deliver, and now you're checking this out and you can get past the unrealistic moment, which is that, oh, this is just going to scratch my car into oblivion. Well, that's just not the case. I promise you the car wash itself is doing their share of scratching. And by the way, how about this for a voice of logic and reason? If you are so concerned about your car, would you ever let it get this dirty? No. And I don't care what method you use, if you allow this much dirt to get on your car, there's no method in the world, no pressure washer in the world, no foam gun in the world that is going to allow you to remove this level of dirt without doing something to the paint. But guess what? This is where wax comes into the equation. I'm going to show you how to take it a step further and get even better results. If you have the time, you're dedicated to those level of results. Let me show you the dirty water, by the way. Okay, that's pretty filthy, but that's where all the dirt went on your cloths. This is the dirt that was removed from the car. So how do we take this to the next level? Well, this is where I introduce one of my favorite products, the Meguiar's Synthetic Express Wax. I'm such a fan of this product. Now I'm going to take, yes, my Costco microfiber cloth that some of you have suggested is an inferior microfiber and it will scratch the paint. Well, that's where I say, once again, is let's be realistic here, kids, folks. I could scratch any car with any microfiber if I wanted to. But in the same context, if I don't want to, and I use it appropriately because it is a good cloth, especially if it's a virgin cloth, then I don't need to overthink it. Here live, I can tell you I just raised the bar 1 or 2 notches from using just the Optimum itself. Now I have a clean car. I don't have to cover my face in shame as I drive my dirty ass car. Now it's clean, it's washed, it's got a level of protection on it because the Optimum does have some UV inhibitors and some carnauba to the formulation. But I'm gonna raise the bar and I'm gonna finish doing the car with my Meguiar's Express Wax. And I've got what's called a wet side, or the application side. And then I have the dry side, and I simply flip it over and buff it to perfection. And it could be this quick. Even if I was in the direct sun, it can be this quick. Of course, I tend to work quicker than most people want to or are willing to work. But that's your call to make. Now as I use it, I don't worry about doing the windows right now. Officially, they've already been done with the Optimum. Now as I go around, I can further detail out the car. If I missed any little bird pollen droppings, I can finish getting those. Because I'm spraying it, there's going to be a natural overspray that gets on the windows. And this side is more damp. This side is the dry side. So I just take the damp side and I do the window, flip it over to the dry side, buff it to perfection. So how's that for simplicity and cutting to the chase? And to me, for most daily drivers, this truly is the winning combination. So there you go, Optimum No Rinse Wash and Wax. I highly recommend it. Thumbs up. I know it's a superior product. I've tested it out in the field. I use it. I use it on my own cars.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and